glory to our power Yahweh. Baha Shomi Hawashai, Baha Sharachak Kudash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and wherever you may be, whoever you may be, to you I say Shalom, Yasharallah, Shalom. Alright, we're back with another AI chat. Alright, we're going to call this one Neuralnauts. Alright, AI chat, Neuralnauts, 2 years of telepathy, and that's not a word that I made up. And this is you can find this anywhere. You can research this anywhere and find up any news article site. But this is directly from the Neuralink site, which is why I chose this, obviously. So yeah, it says 2 years of telepathy. You see the date there, stamped January 28th, 2026. All right, I guess we'll leave that Mario Kart stuff on the screen. So it says Neuralink is building brain-computer interfaces, or BCI, that will return autonomy to people with unmet medical needs. Our first product, telepathy, which that's been a major word he's been using, which immediately a scripture comes to mind. 2 Thessalonians 2. All right, signs and lying wonders. Okay. And as we always get when we go into an AI chat, 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11. Where it says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we're not ignorant of his devices. Ignorant means to not know. An advantage, all right, getting the leg up on you, pulling the wool over your eyes, all right. And his devices, we're already talking about it, aims to enable people with paralysis to directly control computers, which is why they call it telepathy. Aims to enable people with paralysis to directly control computers, phones, and robotic limbs using their thoughts alone. Telepathy records, which is now that I think about it, says directly control computers and phones. When they roll out the main device, the CF, the MOTB device, these people are going to have to get it too. So they're going to need a way to interact, because they've already got the brain chip. So what's going to stop them from getting the one in the hand, right? The one that's mentioned in Revelation 13, that they might not buy or sell, save either had the mark of the beast of the number or the number of the name. So they're gonna need a way, to deal as well. So being able to directly control computers, phones, is a segue to them having their device implanted into their hand. And once again, if they already got the brain one, it's pretty much a no-brainer for the other device, the size of the grain of rice. And robotic limbs using their thoughts alone. Once again, why they call it telepathy. Telepathy records neural activity directly from the brain regions responsible for the muscles of the hands and arms, and translates those signals into digital commands. So what they're doing is picking up on your electrical signals that your brain sends to all your different body parts. Fingers, toes, or whatever. Fingers wiggle, toes wiggle, legs move and walk. All right, back bend, neck, bend to the left. Okay, all these come from brain signals, electrical signals that go to that particular body part and back to the brain, and then that body part makes its movement. And so they're intercepting these signals through their devices. Whatever other word can be used, through the devices, and that's where their technology connects with this human brain here that they're toying around with, because that's all they're doing, toying around with it. And there you go right there. Signals into digital commands, bypassing damaged neural pathways. And that's what we were just explaining. Building such technology requires exploration, which is why they call them Neuralnauts. I'll call them guinea pigs. Okay? So it requires exploration from understanding the information encoded in neural signals. So because these devices give them feedback. So if the brain one does it, what about the one in the hand? Of course, it gives them that's the main one that gives feedback. All of the data collection, all kinds of, some of everything, man. Medical records, be able to know who you are, body temperature, your gait, like your body size, the way you walk, man. Just on a major scale, being able to identify everybody, to say the least. So, from understanding the information encoded in neural signals to the intricate anatomy of physiology of the brain to the user experience of telepathic control, our work is driven by our partnership with the Neuralnauts, and that's why I'm naming it what I'm naming it, because I call them guinea pigs, they call them Neuralnauts, whatever. The early participants of clinical trials who stepped forward to pioneer BCI progress. With a growing crew, and so they're making it sound good. Our work is driven by our partnership with the Neuralnauts, the early participants of clinical trials who stepped forward to pioneer BCI progress. With a growing crew of 21 Neuralnauts enrolled in trials worldwide. We had needed an echo with that, worldwide. All right, but you have individuals who just can't see this technology for what it is, even though the Lord came, visited John, propped him up with an angel to chop it up with him, and told him exactly what was coming. All right, but anyways, we are making exciting progress. This article, because this is all in their digital world, all right, the age of AI and robotics. Scriptures talk about how they accomplish a diligent search. So of course, this is exciting to them.
Yeah.
This article highlights what we have learned from our trial participants, the milestones we have reached together, and how their participation is driving BCI technology forward. And I need to get a water, my mouth is dry. Okay. We're ticking. Alright, we ticking. So, he goes on to say, that's my hand. Telepathy aims to enable people with paralysis to engage with the world as naturally as they would with their own hands. Initially, participants control a computer cursor by attempting to physically move their hand, yet within minutes they often forget about their hand. Finally, the cursor simply moves to their intended destination, which is the telepathy that's happening. So-called telepathy, because that's a fake telepathy. It's not real telepathy. It's not real power. That's that left-handed power. Some participants, such as Nolan, the first Neuralink recipient, have even reported the cursor arriving at the right place before they can consciously realize where they wanted it to go. There were moments I realized, this is a much bigger deal than I thought. The Neuralink is not only able to follow along, but it may also anticipate what you want to do next, just a little bit faster than you can think it. That's almost like reminds me of that verse in Isaiah 65:24, where the Lord's going to bless us before we even think about it, if we ask Him about it. Yeah, this is their left-handed means of a person achieving something that they couldn't previously achieve on their own through their technology. Anyways, and this is from Nolan, one of the first guys, right? I think he was the very first one, Nolan Arball. So eventually participants no longer attempt moving their hands nor their cursor. They simply move as if the BCI was a natural extension of their body. This experience is most in Salaki if there's a lot of noise. I know when I use my tablet, things pick up very well. I like the way my tablet picks, audio up because it sounds better, it sounds more crisp. But they may be the same for the background. But we gotta keep moving. This experience is most profound when participants go beyond cursor control on a screen and control a physical robotic arm. Nick, unable to move his limbs for 4 years, was able to control a robotic arm telepathically to complete basic tasks, from feeding himself to even scratching an itch. What stuck with Nick, however, went beyond independence. It was recovering what he had thought was gone forever. The feeling of moving his arm. Alright, so this robotic arm is giving him the feeling of using his own previously usable arm, which is no longer not able to do so anymore. We're not going to play this video because I have it for you anyways. And a couple others. The thoughts at that point were not forward, up, down, back. That's some more to come back finisher. The thoughts were, but this is serious. But because you take this device, you're finished anyways. The Lord's going to finish you. Okay, and this is the major warning. All right, that's why we're talking about this stuff. So you're aware of what the devil is doing. All right, you're aware that we are pretty much here at this point where he's ready to roll out all of his last stops. All right, all of his last little tricks. Okay, on this earth, as he's been commanded to do so on the left-hand side, man. All right, and these are some of the most major ones of the prophecies on this side. All right, the MOTB, which coincides also with what we're talking about here, the brain chip, because they're all in one same verse in Revelation, the 13th chapter. The thoughts at that point were not forward, up, down, back. The thoughts were, I'm holding a cup and I'm gesturing. The same way I would if I were standing up to give a speech at a wedding. It was incredible. So this guy's encapsulated with this device. It's giving him the feeling that I'm really doing this on my own. I'm really moving again. This is really my arm. And really it's not. It's this chip and this robotic arm and things of that nature. But because the robotic arm is moving to the commands of his thoughts, those electrical signals we talked about, he's so lost in the technology that he has a feeling that this robotic arm is his own arm that he's been set up with. That was obviously a direct quote from Nick. Beyond the subjective participant experience, we also quantify the speed and precision with which intent translates into action by measuring the information transfer rate. Basically, let me read it again. We also quantify the speed and precision with which intent translates into action by measuring the information transfer rate. So in other words, measuring how quick the person thinks versus when the robotic arm does the action, okay, to say the least. All right, I mean, that's the best way I can explain it, in case anyone's confused by what it's saying there. The more quickly and accurately a user selects a series of targets, the higher the information transfer rate and the better their control, you see. So I mean, it's straightforward, right? The more accurately a user selects a series of targets, the more quickly and accurately, the higher the information transfer rate, because it's honing in, like, okay, so it's targeting this thing, like I don't know, I want to pick up a flower, okay, and then there might be a pencil next to it, but you gotta really hone in on the flower. So the more you hit the target, hit the flower target, or I mean, trying to give a small example here, it's going to know, like, okay, he wants to pick up this flower. You know, the electrical signal is telling the robotic arm he wants to pick up this flower, and then there's a higher probability of success that it happens, and more quickly of a response is going to happen. All right, if that makes sense. The higher the information transfer rate and the better their control. Yep. Using a computer mouse with their hands, able-bodied people transmit around 8 to 10 bits per second on average. Now you on your own around this area here, because I'm not I can't talk that stuff. Calculate your own score here. Okay, I would do it, whatever. Multiple Neuralink participants have reached and even sometimes exceeding this range. For instance, Nick achieved over 10 BPS within his first week of using the BCI. And I guess that's what we're seeing on the screen, Nick playing WebGrid. And that's what he's doing, all right? What we just mentioned up above. He's focusing on this area, as quickly as possible and getting it, accurate. All right, so you can see that. Now it looks boring, which it is boring, but to him, he's really focusing on this thing here, because this is all part of him interacting and responding with the system, and what they're doing is gathering, collection of data from this that he's doing. All right, so they can see what they can improve on.
Yeah, they said supposed to start tomorrow morning.
All right, so the ultimate test. How much longer? Because I'm going to read this whole thing. Okay, so we got the ultimate test. While performance metrics like WebGrid quantify restored ability, the ultimate test for regaining independence is found in how it changes people's lives. In some cases, that test is literal. 10 years ago, Nolan sustained a paralyzing spinal cord injury just before his final year of college. You know what, I'm going to skip this because Nolan was the first guy. This dude has been heard about for a long time now. You can easily go back and find his story and all of that here, so we can actually skip that. We'll see what he said, though. I can't even begin to describe how happy I am to be back in school, not just passing my classes, but doing it in style. This is literally the best semester of college, grade-wise, I've ever had. Telepathy, yeah, see, because he has that computer, right? So this is the best semester of college, grade-wise, because of the technology he's using, I've ever had. Telepathy, which is the cheat sheet, has been giving me back parts of my life that I thought were lost forever, and I'm finally starting to feel like myself again, my man. All right, you don't fell and bumped your head because you're using robotic arms and whatever, and you get it, man. He's not himself, all right? Because if the device gets faulty or it's get taken from him, he's right back to regular Nolan. You're just Nolan Arabal who's jacked up. All right, with Nolan paving the way, more participants are now using telepathy for education. Sebastian, one of our newest Neuralnauts, is a 23-year-old medical student. Wow, medical student who sustained a spinal cord injury. Bear with me. Okay, trying to continue on here. More quieter space. Okay, so it says, before Neuralink, Sebastian relied on voice commands to operate his computer, making his return to school difficult. With telepathy, Sebastian has drastically increased his productivity as he pursues his medical degree. From annotating research papers to completing interactive assignments to discreetly multitasking during lecture. Sebastian is using his Neuralink for up to 17 hours a day. Wow. That leaves what? About 7. Is that, let me see, 8, 9, 20, 22, yeah, I think 7. What did it say, 17? Yeah, man, 7 hours a day where he's not using this thing. So this device is his life. I guess that's some of the stuff that he's doing. Sebastian studying for an upcoming medical school exam. Yep, and he's doing it all using his brain thing, because he can't physically just start to type and do this, that, the third thing. Wow, there's 128 slides there. Okay, that was something else. All right, cool. So Neuralnauts are also using their restored cursor control to create. Audrey, our first female Neuralnaut, the first female Neuralnaut, sustained a spinal cord injury 20 years ago. For nearly 2 decades, Audrey has not directly controlled a computer, relying on her partner to complete everyday tasks. Despite her limited experience with computers, Audrey mastered telepathy and found a new love for making art, using telepathy to make intricate pieces. She visually conveys her story through abstract art. After gaining recognition online, she aims to open a physical gallery to further showcase her work and inspire others. So that's some of Audrey's work right there. All right. So it says, what started as a creative outlet has transformed into an act of sovereignty. Through creating her own original art on her own time, Audrey has been able to create something that feels truly hers. My mind feels, I guess she's right on cue, because AI is doing everything. AI is writing songs, writing raps. AI is doing art. AI is doing machine work, building cars, being a waitress. Man, whatever else, man, you could think of. AI is doing everything. Boxing. They'll fight now. AI can beat your ass because they got robots that actually finally move fluid. Man. Hey, but this is the world that we in. But this world is almost over. A lot of these things that Esau is creating and he's trying to so-called achieve, he's not really going to get to fully do some of these things. Now, there's only certain things that matter, which according to prophecy, he's going to be able to fulfill. But the moment he fulfills these things, that's when the Lord is going to sweep him away. Okay? It's not going to go into this whole dystopia type of world like, people really think it's going to be. No, by the time that chip comes, there's a very, very short time that we're going to be still here. And for the Lord moves this devil out the way. So it's not going to be like this, like they show you on his movies and stuff like that. Mad Max, Escape from LA, all this. The road. Things are going to be bad, but like for just a whole, it'll be 15, 20 years and pass by, 28 years later stuff. No, that's not going to happen, man. By the time all that stuff goes down, there's going to be a short amount of time really left on this earth. Okay. In fact, it could be in just months, and then deliverance comes. Okay. We might have to hold it down for a whole entire year, and then deliverance comes. But one thing's for sure is by the time that chip comes, the time is the shortest as it's ever been, and we damn sure ain't going to be here no 20 years, okay, or 1,000 years or nothing like that. All right, we do not believe that, because we see so many things going on. We cannot be here more than I'm not even gonna try to give a number, because then I don't want to be doing that. But you get my point, though. We know time is short, even though we can't pinpoint it, because nobody knows, not even Yahweh Shah or the angels. But let's keep going. Let's get back on point. What started as a creative outlet has transformed into an act of sovereignty. Through creating her own original art on her own time, Audrey has been able to create something that feels truly hers. My mind feels a little free a little less in a box or shoved in a room all the time. All right, it is very freeing, actually. So that's supposed to be a direct quote from Audrey. From education to creative expression, Neuralink participants are discovering ways to restore experiences. Hold on, went too far. That seemed lost forever, but for some, it is returning something even more foundational: the ability to talk. Ooh, let's see what they're talking about here. To be part of the room again. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, is a devastating disease. People with ALS gradually lose control of nearly every muscle in their body, which, the more you read about this, the more it makes sense why, they've targeted ALS, because of what it just said there. People with ALS gradually lose control over nearly every muscle in their body, which leaves what? The main thing that they need to experiment with the brain. If we tamper with your brain, we can help you make everything else work. So for the fact they have ALS, they were to use the brain chip on, no pun intended, but on this person's brain to target the area that they need so-called help with. So ALS is the perfect place to target, or perfect individuals to target, because of what let's read it again. People with ALS gradually lose control over nearly every muscle in their body. See? Ultimately leading to paralysis of their entire body. See, point made. Once they lose the ability to breathe, because they could have targeted paralyzed people from the waist down or something like that. See, but no. Once they lose the ability to breathe and speak, up to 95% of people with ALS decline life-sustaining ventilation, in part due to their inability to talk to loved ones. Yeah, because then they want to feel like, just pull a plug on me. To restore the ability for people with ALS to meaningfully interact with others, we are building faster communication systems by finding clever ways to translate neural data into text. There you go. Once again, that collection of data, the electrical signals that go off and flow through their system, and then they connect. After working with several of our Neuralnauts, such as Jake, we discovered that despite the Neuralink being implanted on just one side of the brain, we were still able to receive strong signals from both hands. Building off this finding, we have been exploring ways to create a 10-finger keyboard for the mind. Before they're going to put a chip on the other side of his brain, by mapping their 10 fingers to different letters analogous to a physical keyboard, participants have reached typing speeds of up to 40 words per minute. Now, those of you, I remember in school, they used to always make you take a keyboarding, computer class, and so I guess 40 words a minute is pretty decent, Looking back and saying, people type back in the days. All right, I mean, I could type pretty fast. I could never do it like these people that are perfect with it. They can fingers on the keyboard, the ASD, across the wall, this and that. I would do it, sometimes, but then you do the finger thing, you just tap. But I could type pretty fast. Versus some other people, we like, dang. Anyways. Wishing everyone happy. Okay, so this is something else. So Jake typing by imagining moving his fingers. So he's imagining telepathy, moving his fingers, and he's typing out this New Year greetings or whatever. I don't know. So Jake, who is able to speak, has used this newfound typing ability to support his general computer use. Translating these findings, we aim to give nonverbal people with late-stage ALS the ability to converse faster and more effortlessly. All right, another quote from Jake: ALS hits you like a pound of bricks, but having this opportunity for my generation is like the equivalent to being one of the first ones on the moon. I owed it to myself, owed it to my son to take a chance, and now he thinks I'm a superhero with the computer chip in his head. If only your son knew. The true superheroes will be the men of the Lord, man, when they're changed. Okay, and they won't have no chips nowhere in their body, right? Maybe they're dead bodies, but once they're resurrected, they're not gonna need chips. What do you say in the Matrix movie? No, Neo, I'm trying to tell you that when the time comes, you won't have to. He was talking about dodging bullets or something like that. I think dodging bullets because he ended up stopping the bullets. All right. Yeah, where we're going, we won't need roads. Movie quotes, right? Looking forward, we aim to push communication to conversational speeds of 140 words per minute. That's a lot of damn words for a minute. Using this technology is what they're pushing for. That's a damn good typer right there. 140 words per minute through our reach, but it's because you know they're doing the telepathy thing, man. Through our recently launched clinical trial called Voice, reading signals from brain regions involved with speech production. The goal of this study is to restore real-time speech for people with severe speech impairment caused by neurological conditions such as ALS or stroke. Going beyond communication speed, our Neuralnauts have devised clever ways to be part of the room again. Brad, our first participant with ALS, noted that a major frustration of his paralysis was being unable to look around the room. When attending his son's regional robotics competition, for instance, Brad was unable to see his son compete due to his inability to move his neck. And so you mean nobody turned him around, huh? Finding a lightweight camera that swivels 360 degrees, Brad attached it to his wheelchair and now moves it freely with his telepathic cursor, looking around that wheel. See, so they're trying to come up with an idea for everything, and this is all the left hand side, man. It's sorcery, because this AI technology is all it is sorcery. It's I almost said organic sorcery, but it's more, I'll just say physical, because these are actual devices. It's just physical sorcery, because you got magic. You know, they might throw a chicken bone, use some blood or something like that, or whatever. Say a spell, an incantation. But the brain chips are physical. It's physical sorcery, because it's. I mean, you trying to get what I'm trying to say. Let's see. Yeah, Brad watching his kids at the park using an instant 360 camera, core memory. All right. Here's a quote from Brad. I want the world to see ALS not merely as a tragic endpoint, but as an opportunity for profound growth and innovation that highlights human resilience. All right, Brad. Okay, the next step with our Neuralnauts pushing the frontiers of BCI, brain-computer interfaces technology. The next step is to make those capabilities accessible to everyone that needs it. Every brain implant must adapt to individual neural architecture influenced by factors as subtle as fluctuations in brain motion, disease state, skull thickness, and blood vessels in the brain. So we have vasculature avoidance. I'm not sure what we're looking at here though. And it says cortical surface estimation. And then brain motion tracking. Okay. So it says brain variations accounted for in real time during surgery. Oh, okay. Well, so these are what's coming up on the doctor's screen, I guess. We almost through. I want to read all of it though. Yeah, a little bit more. So a primary aim of our expanding clinical trials is to better understand these variations and improve both our hardware and the overall procedure for every every participant. Hold on now. Each participant adds to our growing understanding, advancing the path for the next. Now, they says they want to better understand to improve their hardware, not the person, improve their hardware and the procedure for every participant. Once again, not caring about the person, but the hardware and the procedure that the participant goes through, not the actual person. Says a lot there. For instance, when Nolan became the first person to receive a Neuralink, we gained crucial insights into implant thread retraction, highlighting surgical and post-operative improvements needed to maintain consistent signal quality. Yeah, I heard about that, where the little wires or whatever start to retract, so they had to go back in there and dig in his brain again to fix it. With these learnings, we observe a general trend of signal improvement across. And what I wonder what happened to them. Will they get lost in his brain or something? Who knows? Anyways, with these learnings, we observe a general trend of signal improvement across participants. Notably, after implementing these mitigations, we have since seen higher signal quality across 18 of the subsequent 20 participants. Even with this improved signal quality, however, we still see variance in BCI performance, which appears to be correlated with both anatomical variability such as intracranial spacing and conditions such as stage of their ALS. To make fluid hand-like control accessible to everyone, regardless of anatomy or neurological condition, we must continue to improve our implant and surgical process. In the coming months, to improve the implant, we are increasing the volume of neural signal received by increasing from 1,000 to 3,000 electrodes and preserving this signal over time by exploring mechanical features to improve thread retention. For the surgical process, we are investigating inserting implant threads directly through the dura mater surrounding the brain. I'm not sure if that's mater or matter. Matter has two T's. It says mater, but I'm not sure if this is misspelled. Anyways, reducing invasiveness of the procedure. Working closely with regulatory bodies and hospital sites, we aim to safely iterate on our hardware to deliver improved devices to participants and maintain our current record of 0 serious device-related adverse events. Man, you saw with these words, man. This dedication to safety provides the foundation for the accelerating expansion of our Neuralnaut crew from 3 participants in 2024 to multiple participants per month. Multiple participants per month in 2025, and now they're saying what was it, 21, I believe. They're going worldwide. Neuralink worldwide. Okay, timeline. So 2024, 2025. Okay, so looking forward, the path is clear to build a brain interface that restores independence at scale. We depend on the pioneers willing to lead. For that reason, we thank the Neuralnauts for the progress we made so far and for the progress still to come in 2026. I'm not even gonna read the last part. You can pause there if you like. So yeah, there you go. And you know, we did quote a few scriptures, which is not needed to really go any further than that. If we were talking about the actual microchip, you know, we get a few more verses to bring it home, but enough has been said according to what we're reading about here. Okay, once again, this is directly from the Neuralink website, and the name of the article is 2 years of telepathy. You see the date. Okay, so yeah, this is it right here. This is Esau, you know, trying to finalize and capitalize on, you know, the little bit of time that he has left. But with that, you know, we're going to drop these few videos for you, but we're going to end it here. So I'm going to say shalom.
Paralysed patients in the UK have received Elon Musk's Neuralink brain chip for the first time as he expands his human trials across the world. Live to Mimi Becker in London, Mimi, medical experts say this is mind-blowing.
Jane, that's the exact words they've used, and 7 patients in the United Kingdom have now been fitted with this brain chip, which essentially allows a form of telepathy. It means people can control a technological device like a phone or a laptop by using their mind. The first chip was implanted 2 years ago, and now 21 people across the world are using them, and patients say that understandably it's life-changing.
Some people would put it to the side of magic. It looks magical and it feels magical. So yeah, that, you can compare it to that.
Today was the first time I actually see him use it, and it was mind-blowing.
Neuralink founder Elon Musk has hinted that they're ready to expand to a new venture, including blind sight, and that is a device that will help potentially restore vision. Jane?
Amazing, Mimi. Thank you.
I feel like I should probably hold on to it the whole time and probably like gesture wildly with it. You're like, you guys, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Picking up that cup and gesturing while I was talking, the thoughts at that point were not forward, up, down, back. The thoughts were, I'm holding a cup and I'm gesturing the same way I would if I was standing up to give a speech at a wedding. It was incredible to be able to just gesture with an arm again. It wasn't mine, but I was controlling it like it was. Those things are going to give people levels of independence that they thought were gone forever.
A new brain chip developed by one of Elon Musk's companies is being described as a game changer. The chip is being trialled internationally and allows patients to control and manipulate laptops and other devices with the power of their mind.
It's a massive change in your life where you can suddenly no longer move any of your limbs, and this kind of technology kind of gives you a new piece of hope.
Though he's paralysed from the neck down, Sebastian Gomez Pena can now control his laptop and phone using just his mind.
Everyone in my position tries to move some bit of their body to see if there is any form of recovery. But now I think I'm moving my hand to the right, to the left, thinking about clicking my fingers, and the technology just understands what I want to do, and it does it. Yeah.
You wouldn't even know the chip was there until it needs a daily charge.
If you hold it to my head right there, this means this is how you charge it.
So I'm charging the chip.
That is exactly what you're doing.
A keen rugby player and musician, Seb had just finished his first term at medical school when he made one ill-judged dive off a boat on holiday.
When I dived, I hit the floor and hit my head, and alongside breaking my neck, also broke my front two teeth, and yeah, that's how I started.
But it ended up with Seb enrolling in the first UK trial of the Neuralink device, a 5-hour operation performed largely by robot, which, through a hole in his skull, inserted threads 1/10 the thickness of a human hair, connecting 1,000 electrodes to the part of his brain that controls hand movements.
It makes the experience a lot better.
This is the first time his doctors have seen him since the device was switched on.
That is brilliant. Good control. This technology is going to be a game changer for patients with severe neurological disability. And those patients have very little really to improve their independence.
Neuralink, which allowed us to access the trial but didn't want to be interviewed, now confirmed 21 people have been fitted with the device, including 7 in the UK. Some users are able to train the AI that interprets their brain signals to type on a virtual keyboard, even control a robotic arm, or just played with their children.
Oh, you smoke, man.
The company's controversial founder promises even more.
As we advance the Neuralink devices, you should be able to actually have full body control and sensors from an Optimus robot. So you could basically inhabit an Optimus robot. The future is going to be weird, but pretty cool.
Weird, and with it, serious questions about future users' safety and privacy, but a way off. Neuralink still needs to do larger trials and share its data with the public to prove these devices are safe and effective long-term. Elon Musk, whatever you think of him, does have a record of success. But in this endeavour, he depends on brave, determined volunteers like Seb to deliver it.